Buffalo Bills fans, the excitement never stops when we break down every moment of what's happening with our team. This latest matchup had its fair share of drama, strategy, and moments that kept everyone on the edge of their seat. Right from the start, the game plan was clear: protect Josh Allen at all costs and limit the impact of the opposing pass rusher, Myles Garrett. Every single play seemed to revolve around minimizing his opportunities to disrupt the offense. The Bills implemented a very deliberate approach, rolling Allen away from Garrett, using motion to chip and slow down his pass rush, and committing multiple players at key moments to make sure Garrett never really got into a rhythm. It was methodical, intentional football designed to neutralize one of the league's most feared defensive weapons. While Garrett recorded a half sack that, frankly, was more accidental than earned, his presence was clearly a focal point of the Bills' planning. Dion Dawkins, along with David Edwards and the rest of the offensive line, consistently executed blocks and chip schemes to protect Allen, often redirecting him to the right side of the field where he could operate safely. This strategy limited Garrett's influence and allowed the Bills to maintain their offensive rhythm, at least in the first half. One thing that stood out immediately was how infrequently passes were targeted to the left side of the field. This wasn't accidental. It was a continuation of a pattern from previous games, likely influenced by Allen's comfort level and accuracy tendencies. By moving the pocket consistently to the right, the majority of plays naturally developed on that side, keeping the quarterback and the ball safe while also dictating the flow of the game. Play action became a huge part of this plan, with Allen executing 11 out of 23 dropbacks using play action. The results were impressive. 6 completions for 76 yards on those play-action attempts. Screens, surprisingly, were almost non-existent, with only one notable screen completion to Kikir, which set up a critical short-yardage play. This was a calculated choice by the Bills. They didn't rely on screens to slow down the pass rush, instead focusing on controlled movement, strategic blocking, and precise timing to keep the offense on track. The Browns' defensive strategy was equally fascinating. They leaned heavily on man coverage, covering the Bills in a one-high, middle-of-the-field, closed shell on 74% of dropbacks, a staggering commitment to that approach. Nearly 80% of their coverage was man-to-man, an aggressive, high-risk tactic that clearly communicated a lack of respect for the Bills' outside receiving talent. Even with a replacement corner stepping in, the Browns were willing to challenge Buffalo to make plays against less experienced defenders, daring the offense to succeed. Josh Allen's performance, with 12 completions on 19 attempts for 130 yards, was a testament to both the effectiveness of the protection scheme and the limitations imposed by the defensive alignment. The game highlighted a persistent issue. The Bills' wide receiver core under Joe Brady has struggled to consistently create separation and impact against man coverage. Despite solid talent at slot positions and tight ends contributing to the passing game, true perimeter threats remain underwhelming, which forces the offense to rely on formations, motion, and strategic play calling to generate opportunities. Moving to the running game, the Bills were dominant early, executing 29 rushing attempts for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. The first half, in particular, showcased nearly flawless execution. 16 carries for 133 yards, an 87% success rate, and 3 rushing touchdowns, establishing early control of the game. Zone runs were especially effective, hitting a 75% success rate that allowed the offense to maintain balance and dictate tempo. However, the second half told a different story. The running game faltered, producing only 31 yards on 13 attempts with no touchdowns, a stark drop to a 31% success rate. The offense became predictable, favoring runs to the right to avoid Myles Garrett, which the Browns adjusted to, shutting down opportunities and forcing the Bills into less effective sequences. While Josh Allen's foot injury and drop passes may have contributed to the decline, the larger picture showed that the offense became one-dimensional, losing the dynamic edge that made them so dangerous early on. The offensive line deserves recognition, though, particularly Spencer Brown and Jackson Haw, who consistently created gaps and maintained lanes for the running game. James Cook showcased his vision and agility, exploiting the smallest of openings for positive gains, while Ray Davis and Ty Johnson contributed effectively in their rotations. The scheme was designed to limit risk and maximize protection for Allen, which was largely successful, and the offense showed moments of brilliance despite the second-half slump. Play designs, such as the one involving Kikir, illustrated the potential for explosive plays when routes were executed correctly and Allen's accuracy aligned with the offensive plan. When everything clicked, it felt like a top-tier offense ready to dominate. When execution faltered, the limitations became painfully evident, highlighting areas where personnel and design intersect to influence outcomes. Throughout the game, the Bills emphasized patience, methodical execution, and situational awareness. They picked their moments to pass and run with clear intent, avoiding unnecessary risks and penalties. Offensive snap counts reflected careful management of players and positions, ensuring that key contributors like Dawson Knox, Jackson Haw, and the running backs were strategically deployed for maximum effectiveness. The coaching staff clearly had a vision for how the game should unfold, and for the most part, it was executed with discipline, even if the second-half stagnation suggested room for adaptation. While the results could have been more dominant on the scoreboard, the underlying strategies demonstrated an advanced understanding of opponent tendencies, strengths, and weaknesses, as well as a commitment to protecting their franchise quarterback and managing the flow of the game. This matchup revealed both the brilliance and the constraints of the Bills' approach. With careful planning, precision in execution, and strategic movement away from high-risk scenarios, they successfully neutralized a premier pass rusher and maintained control for much of the first half. Yet, it also underscored the ongoing challenges with perimeter receiving and second-half predictability, reminding fans and analysts alike that while the foundation is strong, there is still work to do to fully unlock this offense's potential against elite defensive schemes. As the game progressed, it became clear that the Bills' approach was a mix of calculated aggression and controlled restraint. While the first half had showcased their ability to dominate the ground game and protect Allen, the second half emphasized the chess match that unfolds between coaching staffs and how preparation can only go so far when execution falters. The Browns adjusted, recognizing the Bills' tendencies to run predominantly to the right and to roll Allen away from pressure, which made their defensive adjustments more effective as the game wore on. The running game, which had been a highlight in the opening drives, became stifled, and the offense struggled to generate explosive plays consistently. The predictability of play direction, coupled with a few key drops and slightly off-target throws, made it challenging to sustain drives and maintain momentum. Despite this, there were glimpses of what makes this offense elite. When the lines opened up, the backs found the holes, and Allen had just a fraction of space to maneuver. Those moments reminded fans that this team has a ceiling that, when reached, is among the most dangerous in the league. Josh Allen's performance reflected both his resilience and the limitations imposed by the opposing defense. With the offensive line and motion schemes shielding him from Myles Garrett, Allen had opportunities to operate, yet he still faced tight windows and had to navigate a defense playing with intensity and man-to-man discipline at an unprecedented rate. It's fascinating to note how much of the game plan revolved around minimizing risk while also probing for openings. The Bills' willingness to focus on the right side of the field, use strategic rollouts, and commit multiple blockers to key defenders illustrated a willingness to sacrifice vertical passing opportunities for consistency and safety. In doing so, Allen's ability to make plays downfield was slightly constrained, highlighting the delicate balance between protecting a quarterback and stretching an offense to its full potential. The wide receivers, meanwhile, were both a strength and a point of frustration. While the slot receivers and tight ends consistently made plays, the perimeter wideouts struggled to create separation against a defense daring them to attack those matchups. This was evident in the limited number of targets to the outside and the lack of explosive receptions that could have shifted momentum. There were design plays that worked brilliantly in theory, like the whip route that Kikir was supposed to exploit, which could have resulted in a major gain or even a touchdown. Yet the combination of slightly inaccurate throws and drops meant those opportunities were lost, and it underscored a persistent issue with outside receiving production. This gap continues to define how opposing defenses can allocate resources against the Bills, often daring them to challenge matchups that they currently cannot consistently win. Turning back to the running game, the performances of James Cook, Spencer Brown, and Jackson Hall were noteworthy. Cook's vision, lateral movement, and ability to exploit gaps made him the centerpiece of the running attack, while Brown and Hall created space and managed to execute blocks that allowed for positive yardage, even against aggressive defensive fronts. The first half success rate of nearly 87% on runs highlighted how well the scheme and execution aligned when the defense had not fully adjusted. But in the second half, predictability limited their effectiveness as defenses keyed in on tendencies, slowed down key players, and controlled the backfield. The contrast between first-half dominance and second-half stagnation serves as a reminder that in the NFL, even excellent execution can be disrupted if adjustments are not made in real time. The game also highlighted the strategic use of personnel. Ty Johnson, Ray Davis, Reggie Gilliam, and Dawson Knox all contributed to a complex rotation designed to keep players fresh and maximize effectiveness. Offensive snap counts reflected deliberate planning. Allen playing every offensive snap, Cook carrying the bulk of the running load, Knox and Haas serving as reliable pass-catching options, and the offensive line rotating to maintain protection integrity. Even subtle changes like Spencer Brown leaving for a couple of kneel-down snaps demonstrated attention to detail in preserving players while managing game flow. This type of strategic rotation is critical not only for individual performance, but also for sustaining offensive efficiency over the course of a grueling season. Another element that stood out was how the Bills balanced their approach between attacking and protecting. While the emphasis was clearly on avoiding mistakes and minimizing turnovers, the offense did not shy away from taking calculated shots when opportunities presented themselves. The combination of controlled passing, precise timing, and intelligent motion allowed the Bills to create openings, even against aggressive man coverage. Yet the lack of a dominant outside receiving threat limited the frequency of these opportunities, forcing the offense to rely heavily on precision, timing, and the performance of slot receivers and tight ends to move the chains. This underscores a broader theme in Buffalo's offense under the current scheme. While talented and effective, the system may not fully exploit the potential of perimeter players, and the offensive ceiling is sometimes capped by personnel limitations. Defensively, the Browns' commitment to man coverage and one-high shell formations further complicated the Bills' ability to stretch the field. This aggressive approach was not just a tactical choice, but a statement of confidence and a clear challenge to Buffalo's offensive capability. By daring the Bills to attack the outside, they effectively forced the team into shorter, more controlled throws, which limited the risk but also restricted big play potential. Josh Allen's accuracy and decision-making were critical in navigating these challenges, and while he executed well within the constraints of the game plan, the limitations of the receiving core became even more evident. The offensive success was therefore a combination of disciplined strategy, skill execution, and overcoming the restrictions imposed by both personnel and defensive schematics. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. The Buffalo Bills are reportedly in the midst of internal turmoil following the sudden dismissal of their assistant coach, a shocking move that has left players and staff alike questioning the stability of the team. Sources close to the organization suggest that head coach Sean McDermott was furious over recent events, hinting at tensions that may have been simmering behind closed doors for weeks. While official statements remain scarce, whispers around the locker room indicate that disagreements over coaching strategy and leadership decisions may have escalated into something far more serious. Fans are already speculating about the potential ripple effects this could have on the Bills season. An assistant coach, often seen as the bridge between the head coach and players, plays a critical role in maintaining harmony and focus within the squad. Losing such a figure under controversial circumstances naturally raises questions. Was this purely a strategic decision, or is there something deeper at play within the organization? McDermott, known for his composed and disciplined approach, reportedly did not take the decision lightly, suggesting that the incident may have crossed a line that could no longer be ignored. Meanwhile, social media is ablaze with conjecture as pundits and fans alike attempt to piece together the mystery. Some speculate that the dismissal could affect locker room morale, while others wonder if it signals a broader shakeup in the coaching staff. Analysts are particularly curious about how this development might influence game day preparations and the overall dynamic between the coaching team and players. While the team has not confirmed any details about the reasons behind the dismissal, insiders hint that the situation involves more than just professional disagreements. Rumors range from conflicts over player management to internal communications breaking down in ways that McDermott deemed unacceptable. Whatever the truth, one thing seems certain. The Bills coaching staff is under intense scrutiny, and every move from here on will be watched closely. As speculation continues to mount, the sports world waits to see how Buffalo responds. Will McDermott make further adjustments? Or is this just the beginning of a larger internal reckoning? Until the organization speaks publicly, fans and analysts alike are left to sift through fragments of information, try to make sense of a story that appears far from over. The drama surrounding the Bills coaching staff has captured national attention, and with the head coach reportedly furious, it seems the saga is only just beginning. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.